Welcome to episode 4 of Media Nest, a podcast where we discuss various forms of media. And my name is Adam, and I'm joined by Brad
Wagwan.
and Dylan.
Hello there.
And this week, the film discussion will be led by me, as it was my recommendation. I wanted to talk about Climax, and the album recommendation was from Brad this week, which was While She Sleeps, You Are We. Right.
Fun times.
So, our film this week was the 2018 film Climax, directed and written by Gaspar Noe. I think I'm pronouncing that right. The Argentinian director, but he's well known for making French films. And he's known for Irreversible, Enter the Void, and Love.
Never heard any of those.
It loves on Netflix. Give me a watch.
His style is very provocative, you could say. He's a provocateur. Right. Variety called him an artist of scandal. So I think that's quite a fitting description of his films.
I already hate this episode. All
right. He's clearly inspired by a lot of Stanley Kubrick's work, and one of his trademarks is continuous long shots. So in most of his films, you tend to have a lot of long, sort of intricate camera work in scenes. Another interesting fact about Gaspar Noé, which I thought was hilarious and made me like him more. He was invited to the premiere of Black Panther, and he walked out after 20 minutes.
I love that.
You can tell what kind of director he is and what kind of films he makes. Wow.
He's a wanky piece of shit, but no spoilers.
And he said himself that his movies should be divisive and make the audience uncomfortable. And he was actually surprised by the good reviews he got for Climax and a little bit annoyed because he doesn't like people liking his films, apparently.
He's one of those artsy guys. He's like, I want to be so artsy that no one.
I mean, you could probably tell just from watching Climax, like he's a very artsy, provocative guy. So Climax itself was released in 2018, filmed with an estimated 2.6 million euros budget, which is fairly small for today's standards. It was filmed in France, and it was shot in 15 days.
15 days?
15 days, yeah. With only a 5-page script.
Really?
Yeah. And only the main character, Selva, was played by an actor, so that was Sofia Boutella. Everyone else in the film was a professional dancer, but they never experienced acting before. So the majority was improvised, and it was shot chronologically.
That was an interesting thing when I was reading about that.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never heard of a film being shot chronologically. And then I realized it was because they wanted to do that just in case they wanted to change any part of the storyline because there was no dialogue.
Yeah, but then basically his style was to just film people improvising and then choose what he wanted to use at the end of it. And only the first dance sequence was choreographed, sorry. And the rest was just left to them. So basically all the individual dancing that you see at the beginning of the film, he was just like, just dance, like you're the dancers.
I also read that all of the actors, dancers, shall we say, had creative control over where their characters went.
Exactly, yeah. So basically he had a 5-page script, which I guess was just the basic premise of the film. And he was just like, we're just going to film shit, see what it turns out like. So I think with that understanding, that might make the film make a bit more sense.
Sure.
So
we'll go with that.
I'll say the general premise of the film.
Right.
And then I'll get your first impression, sort of what you thought before you watched it and what you thought when you first turned it on, because I think that'll be quite interesting. So the film has a very simple concept. So basically, dancers go to a party during winter and someone spikes the sangria with enormous amounts of LSD. After that, chaos ensues.
Right.
That's basically the entire film in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So we'll go with you, Dylan, because I can see you're smirking. Go with you first. what was your first impressions of Climax?
Right. Are we talking after I'd finished watching it or just while it's going on?
Let's stick for the first part of this discussion with just the first half of the film. So the film to
First
me
half.
is divided into two very different parts.
Distinct. There is a distinct part where it just changes.
It changes,
for
yeah.
me.
There's
Yeah.
one scene in particular where it cuts and then suddenly the film changes. So
Yeah.
let's just talk about the first half for now. So what was your first impressions watching the first half of the film?
It was quite possibly one of the most boring things I've ever watched in my entire life. That first half of the movie was just people chatting shit about
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
It was just people talking about just it's almost unrealistic. No one ever has conversations like that ever, I don't think.
Right.
I mean, they
Dylan,
are French and they are
can I
dancers,
just-
so I
can
slightly
I just-
disagree with that.
Can I just stop
That's
you a
fair.
second, right?
Go, Brad.
So I'm about to say something you're going to think is absolutely stupid, right?
Go on.
But I watched this film without subtitles.
What? Why?
I watched this film without subtitles.
Why?
Brad, why?
Why?
Because, right, when I knew there wasn't that much dialogue, I was
Yeah.
just like, how much am I really missing out on? And then when I realized that you can tell the storyline through just the portrayal of the actors, it's more about the acting effect rather than the actual dialogue, because the dialogue isn't really that relevant.
I'm not gonna
Right.
lie. Half the time I wasn't looking at the subtitles because I was just so in awe. But I feel like the subtitles definitely added to it, 100%.
Well,
You-
because you had your initial interviews where they're talking about dancing. I mean, I'm not. I don't speak French, but I understand to some degree, right?
Yeah.
And they were talking about dancing. They were talking about sex. They were talking about drugs. They were talking about all sorts of random shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for the next part of the after the interviews, it was basically 20 to 30 minutes of just banter.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was.
yeah, I see
There
what
was
you
nothing.
mean. I see what you mean.
Brad, do you know what, Brad? You missed nothing there. You didn't
No,
miss
that's what
anything
I'm saying.
relevant.
I don't feel like I feel like you knew exactly what was going on. They were just having a bit of like they're bickering about each other.
Yeah.
And I did that. I seduced that without even having to use the subtitles.
Yeah.
So when did you
yeah.
stop listening to the subtitles? When did you turn them off?
Well, I didn't initially have them on, and then I put them on whilst they were doing the interviews, and I was like, hold on a second, I'm just going to turn the subtitles off.
That's
You're
fair.
crazy, man. You're a crazy man. I've never heard anyone just watch a foreign film with no subtitles just for the sake of it. I mean, I agree. The dialogue, a lot of it is pointless, and it's not so much about the dialogue itself; it's about what's happening around. But
Yeah.
you two, this is your first experience with the film.
Yeah.
What you're saying is exactly what I thought when I was first watching it. So when the film
Oh.
started,
I've not given my full opinion here yet.
right,
I just
yeah,
said
yeah.
I watched
But I mean,
it
just for the
without...
first half, just for the
Yeah.
first half. If we
Right.
just talk about the dialogue, so I was thinking, what is the point of this dialogue? Why are there
Yeah.
interviews at the beginning? Why are they talking about all this stuff?
That's exactly
Because
what
I
I'm
didn't know
thinking
where it was
now.
going. But on a second watch, I started picking up things with the dialogue that pay off later. So
Such
the
as?
dialogue seems pointless because they're just having banter and they're just saying like, "Oh, I've done drugs before, but I didn't like it," or "Oh, I really want to have sex with this girl," and all of
Yeah.
that, right? But the dialogue helps define their personalities, which
Yeah.
is flipped on its head and exaggerated in the second half of the film, which I only
Yeah.
really noticed in the second watch.
I'm not gonna lie. I did pick that up,
Yeah,
and I still don't think, like, for instance, the girl who's like, "Oh, I did drugs once and I really hated it. I'd never do it again." And then in the second half, she's like going around asking everyone, asking cocaine lady, "Oh, can
yeah,
I get some coke?" Like,
yeah, which I find
stuff like
interesting
that.
because they're either lying in the interviews and then you find out later, or they're revealing parts of their personality which is exaggerated in the second half.
Yeah.
But obviously,
Yeah.
Brad, you would have missed that because you just didn't have any dialogue at all.
Well, no, because I understood what was going on. At no point did I was just like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I suppose
fair.
we should say this is not a traditional film in any sense.
It's not, right. I've got a bone to pick with that as well. The film, all right, so there were a few things that I liked about this film, right? One of the things, this is in the first half. One of the things was that some of the shots were really nice. Like the interview scene it looks beautiful. You've got like a TV screen in the middle, and you've got like books and like DVDs and like
the
either
books and
side.
the DVDs are actually the inspirations for the film. So you've got like
Yeah.
Suspiria and Taxi Driver and all of like
Mm.
these sort of provocative, controversial pieces of media.
Yeah, because while it was going on, I was like looking up some of it, or me and my housemates and Danielle was looking up some of it. But yeah, so I really liked that shot, and it just kept going. They interviewed every single person, every single like. It went on for at least 10 minutes for that first scene.
It was about 8 minutes, I think.
So 8 minutes of just people talking, look like in the same kind of frame.
Yeah.
And it got boring. It looked nice, and then it got boring. Then in another scene, you got the dance scene, the first choreographed dance scene. And I thought it'd be a little dance, and then everything would carry on. That went on for at least 5 minutes as well.
I enjoyed that though.
I didn't at all.
I enjoyed that as well.
It's too much. It's just too long of nothing. It's just nothing. It's just dancing.
Well, no, because then after they've had a bit of banter, they then do another dance sequence where that's all like improvised stuff. And again, I quite enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, but then it goes to the whole. So they're talking to each other. They're in like little groups of 2s and 3s and stuff like that. They're all talking with each other. And again, I liked it because it's just like, showing people, hanging out at this party, talking about whatever. But then it goes on for like 15 minutes of them just talking. And then the next dance scene where it's shot from above, that was I really liked that. I really it looked really good. But again, it went on for like 8 minutes, 9 minutes. And I just I hated every second of it.
Because on my first watch, I completely said the exact same thing. And I wrote down in my notes, is it too much build up the beginning? But on the second half, because I noticed that most of those conversations and the dance sequences and stuff did eventually pay off. It wasn't as bad for me, but I do agree on first watch, when it was cut into all the conversations, I was bored. And I was, because I didn't know where it was going, I was just thinking, like, is this going to be the whole film?
Yeah.
To me, once you've seen the second half, the build up is more than worth it. And I feel like it's not too long for me, but I understand where you're coming from, definitely.
I feel like that's where we differ here, because we got in, so we were watching the movie, and it got to a point where we were looking at the time just to see like what's going to happen. We're like, all right, it's 45 minutes into the movie and nothing has happened. There must be a massive payoff. And for me, the payoff, it didn't hit as hard as I thought it was going to hit. Like, we won't get into it too much just yet. It goes crazy. It does go crazy. But for the amount of build-up, I've never watched a movie where literally over half of the movie or half of the movie is build-up. There's usually like maybe 3 sequences to a movie. You got the start where you're explaining shit. You got the middle where everything's kind of building up now. And then you got the end, which is the big grand finale.
Yeah.
But in this, you've got one half of the movie is build up, and half of that build up was almost pointless, I'd say.
Yeah,
and
but
then the second half
was
payoff,
this is not a traditional movie, because it doesn't even really have an act structure. The whole film is basically like 2 acts, and it is exactly 45 minutes when that scene transition happens to the second half, which I find quite interesting. But what about you, Brad? What did you think of the first half in particular? Obviously, you had no dialogue.
No, but I did understand to a degree what was going on, like, especially when there were, because we had our interviews, which again, like I said, I'm not French, but I understood some of what they were saying.
Yeah, you can understand.
And we moved on to the dance scene, and I really enjoyed the dancing. Because I mean, I'm not gonna go out and say that I love dancing films, but I like seeing different transitions into sort of modern artistic ways. Right?
Yeah.
And the dancing was very impressive. Even if you don't necessarily
I was
very impressive.
Well, there was a lot of different elements of dance in there as well, which I really appreciated. I mean, there was the contortionist guy who was like waving his arms around the back of his head.
everyone had their own distinct style of dancing, I feel.
Yeah.
And while you're watching it, you didn't even need to look at the character, because in the background, if you're looking at the background, you're looking at like almost silhouettes of people dancing, and
Yeah.
you knew every character from their dance.
Are you
That's
telling me
one
you
thing I
didn't
did pick
enjoy
up.
like the body popping guy who was like
I did. I
throwing his
enjoyed
shit
that.
around? Like
I
was
enjoyed
like,
it, but I didn't want it to go on for 45 minutes. I'm not gonna
The
lie.
thing with the dancing, the one word I'd use to describe it is kind of like mesmerizing or like hypnotic,
Yeah.
especially the overhead shots. Because the overhead shots, you had
Yeah.
some dancers where their head was staying still and they were doing like
Yeah.
body popping and they were
I
like
noticed
on
that.
the floor doing them crazy dance moves.
Yeah.
Looking at that from like an overhead shot, it was really sort of disorientating, which
Yeah,
I
that-
love because that gets you ready for what's about to come.
That is one thing I did notice as well. Like the whole movie is basically, it sounds wanky, and I hate that I'm saying this, but the whole movie is just basically just trying to show people a different perspective of whatever he was trying to do. So the whole
Yeah.
shot about like above them while they're dancing. No one ever looks at dancing from above.
No.
That's just a thing, and he's obviously done that as a artistic choice, I suppose. And I did enjoy it. I enjoyed, what he was trying to do, but again, it just goes back to too far, too long.
Yeah, so can I get back to my opinion before
Yeah,
Dylan
go.
takes over the podcast? Like,
Yeah.
cheers.
Sorry.
Yeah, go on, bro.
So yeah, no, and then when we was having the individual segments of everyone having their little banter section, I quite enjoyed some of the couples they made, and there was I think what was his name? Is his name Cyborg? One of the guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember Cyborg.
He was having some great banter, and I was like,
You mean the beanie hat? The beanie hat.
Yeah.
Those guys.
They were funny.
I was finding that hilarious.
No, man.
But the funny thing about that is that you just know they're bullshitting.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny, because you know people like that who just constantly talk shit at a party. And you got to remember as well that at this point they're all getting very drunk and obviously high at the same time.
And then you got like the sex perverted guy who's trying to fuck every girl there as well.
Yeah.
This guy,
what's
his name? David. Yeah, so I was quite enjoying the character build up in some respect. I didn't mind it. Again, I can understand that it went on too long, because it definitely went on too long. There's like no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But I can't say I didn't like it. So
I think second watch, that first half is a lot easier to watch, because I agree 100% on my first watch, because I was just like, what is this? What am I watching? Because I'd heard really good things about it. And then I was watching it, I was like, well, this is weird. This is nothing like I've seen before. But then the second half to me makes it so much better. Right. So according to Gaspar Noe, the first half is a roller coaster. The second half is a ghost train. That's how he describes this film.
Oh, fucking hate this man.
Right. But the second half of the film, right? So 45 minutes in, or like before that, you have your conversations with your characters. They're all getting a bit drunk, and they're all talking about like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and they're all highlighting their personalities. Then you get the from above dance sequence with all the individual characters, right?
Yeah.
And one thing is as well, the music gets more and more chaotic as it goes.
Yeah.
So once you get to this section, the music starts getting a bit faster and a bit more crazy with like that blaring techno music, basically.
Yeah.
And then you're watching them from above. They do their individual dances. It cuts to them doing a group dance, and they're all really happy and just like all going crazy.
Yeah, I like that.
Immediate cut at like almost exactly 45 minutes into the film, and suddenly there's characters on the floor. There's people like passed out. There's punch thrown all over the floor. Yeah. And that is when the movie goes from happy dance party to nightmare.
Yeah.
To me. So, Brad, we'll go with you. What did you think of the second half of the film?
Well, so after they yeeted that guy outside, I was a bit like, okay, this is going to get a little bit interesting. During the entire film, I felt like there's going to be some sort of fucking sex orgy going on. I'm not going to lie to you. Right? Because I was so sexualized.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's
everything everyone was
Gaspar
doing
Noe.
was so sexualized.
Yeah.
Right? I was waiting for some fat old orgy to start happening. I was like, where are we
Yeah.
going with this? So then when they threw that guy outside, I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna start getting some murders instead. And obviously we got a few like punches thrown and some man got bottled. But I mean, yeah, it was interesting. I think I preferred in this film the character build up than I did actually the ending.
Really? That's
I-
interesting.
Now this, yeah, obviously Dylan's not going to agree with this, but there was a lot in the ending that I didn't like.
Okay.
Because obviously where there was no acting direction, well, there was some acting direction, but it wasn't. And obviously, a lot of people had more creative control and they'd never acted before, and I felt like
Yeah.
there was a lot of storylines that could have been a lot better. Right? And then also, I'm gonna skip. I mean, I'm not gonna give up too much here, but I want to skip to sort of the ending sequence, right, where everything is shot upside down.
Yes.
Pissed me off.
Right, that pissed me off so
Really?
much, right?
Pissed me off.
Because there is one thing I hate about filming, right, when it comes to camera shots, and that is not being able to see
Right.
what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So you know when you have like a Marvel scene where there's fight scenes going on, but you can't actually tell what's
Yeah.
going on because the camera's like all over the fucking place. Right? I hate it when you can't see what's going on, and we're just sort of scouring through the floor. We can see like some man's having sex. We can see like someone else is like going mental.
Yeah.
It's like, but you don't actually see what's going on. You sort of just have an idea of what's going on because they've given you like
Right.
this tiny little, and then also it's all red and black, so you can only see like half of the screen anyway. So you're like, what's the point in this?
I would like to come in here and say that scene. So I was getting pissed off a little bit by the upside down stuff. However, the whole thing about it being upside down, and that scene in particular where it's just like panning across the floor, was really good because for me, you're watching it and it's fucking unnerving because it's not a horror film in terms of like monsters and zombies and shit. It's people, right?
Yeah.
And you're looking around and these people are fucking like they're contorting their bodies, they're like writhing around on the floor, they're like making noises, faces, all of that. And it's really, really scary. It is. It's unnerving. And the fact that it's upside down, it just fucking throws you off, you know?
Yeah.
One thing we're going to throw in there is that there is I think it's 4 deaths in this film. I think 4 people die.
Yeah, maybe
including
more.
a child. So,
yeah,
I mean,
a child. You've got someone who freezes to death. You got like, I mean,
someone
basically it's just an escalation. So as you said, from when they throw Omar out into the cold because they think he was the one who spiked it, they're all just descended into madness because they're all massively high to the point where like you could believe that they were doing these things because you don't know what taking that much LSD is going to be like. And then they're all accusing each other and fighting each other, and one girl gets her hair set on fire, and
that was fucking wild.
That was banter, to be fair. That was banter.
Yeah.
And it's just like basically every character, what's set up in the first half for me is their personalities are so extreme from what they were saying during the interviews in the first part.
Agreed.
That's why I think the first part does pay off, because like David is a bit of a perv, right? As soon as he's on drugs, he's just trying to get on with like all of the girls, and he's being really forceful and like all of that, and he ends up getting beaten up because of it. You got the brother and the sister, the brother, the brother's like really controlling of his sister, and obviously that,
and then tries to smash. What the fuck?
You say tries to, he did. He was smashing.
He does. And obviously Gaspar Noe is a bit of a creep, but that's like an element of his personality that was set up, and then that pays off, and like just really horrific things are happening during this party because they're all on drugs. But you say, Brad, you didn't like the upside down camera work and stuff.
No.
I love that, because to me this is like a 42-minute long shot. Okay, so the camera is basically panning around and following different characters this whole time. I don't know how they managed to do it, especially in 15 days. And
honestly,
the camera, for me, the camera acts as a window for you to be at this party, because the camera feels like a character, because it's like walking around, following people, going upside down, doing these crazy pans. It makes me feel anxious just because of the camera movement.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying I hate all the camera work. I'm just saying that upside down scene, like, because that was quite long as well, where the camera was upside down for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
right?
the last
It
like
was
10 minutes or
it
15
was
minutes.
long, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that scene at the end where they're all just in that main hall, right? That was so long.
But there's always stuff happening though.
No, but that bit was like unnecessarily long because there was at
That's
that point
fair.
you'd seen everything that had happened, but they were just I don't
They
know
kept
I don't know
panning.
quite yeah, I don't quite know what the thought was here because it was about 10 minutes of just watching people in
To
this
me,
one
it
room
was just it
when
was
we'd
still
already
just
seen everything that
escalation.
happened.
Yeah.
No,
No,
because
because we had reached escalation. This was it.
I guess, but then I do love that last sequence where the lights go out because the kid's killed himself, and
Yeah.
then after that it's just like
Jeez.
red and like horrible distorted techno music, and the camera's just flowing upside down, and there's someone on the floor bleeding, and someone getting beaten up, and someone having sex.
Oh.
I love
Yeah.
that bit. That just made me feel anxious and
Yeah.
like a nightmare.
It did feel like a nightmare. I'll give you that. It was
It's
fucking
very
horrendous.
the whole film's very dreamlike, and then that final continuous shot, or meant to be continuous shot, is like a
Yeah.
nightmare, and you can't get away because the camera's there. You know,
I'm not gonna lie, I do want to go to an LSD party after this now.
No, I don't.
So, two things. Number one, when we were watching it, we had all vowed to never do drugs ever. Like, we are never doing drugs. And secondly,
Yeah.
I've just done a little Google search, right? I just typed in how long does it take for LSD to kick in. It says 45 minutes
That's perfect.
after ingestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 45 minutes after ingestion to start kicking in. And
Mm.
about 30 minutes in, you start to feel a little uncomfortable. Now, thinking back to the movie, about 30 minutes in, you got people, you know, like kind of walking around all funny. Everyone's kind of
Yeah.
noticing. You get in the background, you hear like stuff like, oh, like I feel sick, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he's done a bit of research. He did a quick Google search before he made this film, I suppose.
Yeah, the thing I like about the film, in terms of its unconventional style, though, that you might not agree with, is because he's just choosing where to shoot, but everyone's doing something at the same time. There's always something going on, and there's always
Yeah.
something going on in the background as well. So you're
That's
like,
what I was looking at.
the camera will be following like Sophia Butella's character through the hallway, but as she's moving, you can hear someone screaming in the background.
Yeah.
You can hear like obviously the music cuts in and out as the camera's going, and then it cuts back, like you'll follow someone else walking back to that room, and then you'll see
Yeah.
like the aftermath of what happened that you didn't see, which
Yeah.
again to me adds to the nightmare that you feel like you're really at this party, you know.
It was yeah. The whole second scene, it felt like it didn't pay off. It paid off in some respect, in terms of it made me uncomfortable to watch. I was sitting there. I had to. So when that second half kind of started, I kind of sat up and I was sitting on the edge of the sofa because I was expecting something to happen, but whatever I was expecting never happened. You know.
The one thing is as well, the opening scene is actually the end of the film, so it does give you an indication that something bad's going to happen, because it's the pregnant character walking through the snow with like bloody eyes,
Yeah.
and her screaming, and then the end credits come in, which I suppose when you turned
That-
this on, you must have been like,
yeah.
what the fuck is this?
Yeah. That's exactly.
And then
what
it
we
cuts
said.
to the beginning of the film. So even though the first half you could call it boring and it goes on too long, to me I always had that in the back of my head, like this is gonna get horrific at one point. So to me
Yeah.
it pays off. But I can see if you disagree with that.
They make it very obvious what's happened though. That the
Yeah.
constant shots of the sangria. So
I mean, they mention
Yeah.
it in the thingy anyway. They in the description of the movie on Netflix, it said, "Oh, these dancers are here," and then someone spikes the sangria.
Yeah,
So
I
you
mean
kind
it's
of
not
knew that.
meant to be a surprise. you know?
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
more, to me, the film is more an experience than a
Yeah.
film, you know?
I feel like he wanted us to know that the sangria got spiked, so we'd expect something, and he went with what we wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
So
Shouts out to
he
the
set
bad
up
mum, though.
expectations for us
True.
to then ruin those expectations. But yeah,
Yeah, true. So I suppose we've talked about the two distinct parts of the film. Shall we
yeah,
move on to the film as a whole?
go for it. What are your thoughts?
So another thing Gaspar Noe said about this film, right? That you're
Right.
probably going to get
Okay.
annoyed at, Dylan, because you hate this
All right.
guy. But
I'm
he
ready.
said it's one of his favorite films is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Okay, which is
Okay,
about the
never seen it.
evolution of man. He said
Okay.
he wanted to make a film which was the opposite of that, which is the devolution of man. Right. So as you're saying, like the characters are like writhing on the floor and going crazy or whatever, they're basically reverting back to like their animal instincts, right? Which I like the film looking at that view, but you probably disagree.
I could fuck that, right? He did not. No, I'm sorry, right? He made a film about people taking drugs and people took the drugs and then people were affected by the drugs. He was not making a film about the devolution of man. That's bullshit. He's chatting out of his bumhole.
That's the artsy way of saying it.
Honestly, he's chatting wham. No, okay, I've lost respect for this man. He
Right.
has made a film that was, I'm not going to say thought provoking because it wasn't. It made you uncomfortable, and that's what he did.
It's experiential. It's like basically he's just trying to get an emotion out of you.
Yeah,
If that emotion is disgust, he's happy. If that
yeah,
emotion is enjoyment, he's also happy. Maybe not as happy as disgust.
yeah,
So to me, the film succeeds in what it was trying to do, because I enjoy the first half. I enjoy the soundtrack. The soundtrack to this film is amazing. Like I listen to this soundtrack outside of the film because some of the songs are actually just straight bangers,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
fits really nicely.
Agreed.
And everything in the film, from the camera work, the first half, the acting,
The
the
lighting
music,
was
the lighting,
very
yeah, it
nice.
all is geared towards making you feel anxious and making it feel like a nightmare. And to me, it does feel like a nightmare. So it succeeds in
Right. If that is genuinely what he wanted, which I can understand, yeah, he probably did want that, then he did succeed with me. Because when I was watching it, I was waiting the entire first half. I was waiting for something to happen. I was waiting for a turning point,
that.
and only after watching the film or while talking about it now, have I
Yeah,
realized like there was it's distinct turning point, and it all starts going downhill from there. And
right.
that downhill made me uncomfortable because I was watching it expecting things to happen, which never did, but it also was probably worse than what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're basically the prime audience for this film, really, because if you didn't enjoy it, then that's exactly what you wanted.
Exactly. I played into his dumb French hand
Argentinian
because
hands
Yeah.
in a French film.
French film hands then.
But this film has 7.1 on IMDb.
Yeah,
And
that's
was,
what pissed me off.
And he was pissed off that people liked it. So, you know, obviously
I looked on Letterboxd, right? And you can see kind of like how the ratings are dispersed from
Right.
like 0.5 to 5.
Yeah.
And there is quite literally. So when I first watched it, this is a spoiler. When I first watched it, I would have given it a 0. Like straight after
Right.
watching it, I would have given it a 0. Okay. There was like, I'd say 90% of all the ratings were in the 5 stars, 4 stars, and 3.5 stars.
Yeah.
Everything underneath that, there was no rating. And I was so pissed off at that.
Right.
I was reading some reviews and they were all 5-star wanky, like, oh, the artist, I don't know, they were just chatting wham, they're using big
You're gonna
words.
hate my rating then.
Oh,
Anyway.
fuck
Right,
off.
Brad.
Right, okay.
Brad, what
I
were
need
your
to calm down.
overall thoughts on the film after you watched it then?
Yeah, I enjoyed some aspects of it. I get that he was trying to show that LSD. The one thing I did enjoy was that everyone had a different reaction to LSD.
Yeah,
Some people became
100%.
violent. Some people became like affectionate. You know,
Yeah.
it does really show the differences you can have, and that was one part of the
100%.
creative freedom people were allowed, because they're allowed to take their character to anywhere they wanted to go. With
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Even if I believe most of the reactions are sort of things that happen after LSD.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
To me, it's very
'cause-
believable. Like the
yeah,
freaking out and like her putting her hands in her tights and
Yeah.
then like getting confused by that. That seemed really realistic. I think Sophia
Yeah.
Boutella's really good in this film as well.
Yeah.
For me, it misses a
Don't
little
hurt
bit
me to
towards
say.
the end, just because I didn't like the camera shots. It was really awkward to try and watch, not because of the
Yeah.
storyline, but because it was just actually physically annoying to try and watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, that really let the film down, even if it
Okay.
did for you. So
Yeah.
for me, overall, not bad, not great. So
Okay.
That's fair.
All right
That's
then.
fair.
So, I mean, to me, most of the stuff you're naming that you disliked is stuff that I love. And I do agree that probably the biggest aspect of the film that does let it down is just some of the first half. Like, you could probably cut down some of that or make it a bit more important. But obviously, because it's improvised and they're not really actors, you know, I can't really fault it too much.
Yeah.
And to me, I think the unique structure and the presentation, the really impressive camera work,
Yeah.
soundtrack, because it's not a normal film, and to me, it's just more of an experience, and it's kind of like a dance horror film, sort of, where the
Yeah.
whole film is basically a dance, because
Yeah.
even in the second half, the way the camera's moving, it feels like dance choreography, you know.
Yeah.
And second watch, the film was a lot better to me. First watch, I found
Fair.
it slow in places. Second watch, I was more interested in like the character development and how that paid off in the second half. So for me, it used to be a 3.5 when I watched it first time, but
Okay.
now I bump it up to a 4 out of 5.
Right. Um. Right. So I'll give you two reactions for me. My
Mm-hmm.
first reaction from when I watched it, I was so angry. I think I messaged you, Adam, at like 11:45, and I
Yeah.
was like, if I see you on road, it's straight mate. That's what I think
Yeah,
I
that
said.
did happen. I was
Yeah.
scared.
I was so annoyed that I'm not going to say wasted my time because it was in retrospect good, but I was annoyed about the movie when I watched it, and I would have given it 0
Yeah.
because I don't think I absorbed it.
I feel like the film lives with you. Like, I wanted to talk about it because I watched it once, but I've
Yeah.
never forgotten about it. And I still remember a lot of the film, and it sort of sits in the back of your head.
Yeah. I feel
But
like
yeah,
this is going to be one of those films where if anyone asks me about like, oh, give me a random fucking, movie to watch, I might suggest this. It might be one of those movies because I would never watch this film. If someone
No.
told me what this film was, I would never watch it.
Yeah.
But now that I've watched it and have spoken about it and have kind of understood what he was going for or just the artistic choices, etc., I kind of get it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give this. All right, I'm giving it 2.5
Yeah.
because he's done what he wanted to do. He made a
Yeah.
film that for a normie like me who doesn't watch fucking artsy films,
Yeah.
it made me uncomfortable and confused and angry.
Yeah.
So
Which is
I
what it's
played
meant
into
to.
his hands.
Yeah.
It worked. And I did, in retrospect, like playing it back in my head, it is without context, like without actually listening to it, a beautiful film. It does look good.
Yeah.
It looks very nice. It sounds good. Obviously, my big gripes are that the first half was boring, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, in retrospect, 2.5. That's what I'll give it.
Okay. Fair enough. And
Yeah,
Brad,
which
what
I
about
hate
you?
myself for saying.
So for me, a lot of the like I said, I've got positives that come with the negatives. It's like creative freedom for actors was good and bad in a way because some of the action sequences I felt were quite bad. But also like being able to have freedom in doing whatever they wanted to was also quite good.
Yeah.
There was, like I say, the sort of the camera following people. It was good. Obviously, you get sort of an aspect of. There was one thing I did actually quite enjoy was when it was following Sylvia around and it was just panning into people's rooms and seeing what was going on there.
Yeah.
I
You
love
know, that was quite enjoyable. I really enjoyed the dance sequences. and like just the freedom of dance as well. So that was
Yeah.
really good. What let down for me was just the upside down camera shot. I thought that was awful.
Fair.
There is again
It's fair.
some of the odd things that happened. You know, there was. I mean, I don't mind controversial things like when some woman starts kicking in a pregnant woman, but I mean,
Yeah.
you sort of get some moral discomfort with that as well.
Oh
Yeah.
So for me, it gets a 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Fair play.
That's higher than I thought both you would rate it, to be honest. Because
Yeah.
when I suggested
That's higher
this,
than I thought I'd
I
rate it
know that
before I
this
started.
film is incredibly divisive. It's one of those films, you know. It's pretentious as fuck. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, he's like, oh yeah, I'm only going to use actress. You guys can do
Yeah.
whatever you want. So it could fall flat on his face. But
Yeah.
what he did with it, and with all the limitations, I do think is a good movie. You know.
But yeah, I also
Fair
do
enough.
appreciate that it was shot in chronological order.
Yeah.
And
I can
yeah,
appreciate
there
that.
there was a lot of freedom. So
Yeah.
that's one thing films always lack is a bit of freedom. So
Exactly. Yeah. And how different
Yeah.
this film is, I would recommend it just to see it. Because if you hate it, then that's fine.
That's
I
fine.
think
Yeah.
It is memorable.
the one thing for me that makes it a 3 still as well is that I would rewatch it.
Yeah.
I am going to have to rewatch it
I think you
sometime,
should.
which
Yeah.
I'm really, really annoyed about. I just want everyone to know that I'm so angry that I've given it a 2.5.
It's one of them. It's one of those films.
Yeah.
Right. So moving on to our album discussion this week. So I'll hand the
Yes.
reins over to
Oi.
Brad.
Oi,
go.
let's
Let's
go.
go.
All right, cool. So, While She Sleeps, British metalcore band, we'll be discussing the You Are We album, released in 2017. It's the third studio album by While She Sleeps. It also marked a quite important part of their discography as well, because it was the first album they released as independent. And
Ah.
they have been independent since as well, because when I went to go see them when they were supporting Architects.
Okay.
And the one thing they made quite clear is that, you know, they felt like they were being held back by a label, and they wanted
Yeah.
to show that individual bands that can go independent can make it work.
Okay.
That's cool.
And since then they really have as well, because they went on to do a headline tour. I
Yeah.
then also seen them at Brixton, where they headlined. So that was really good. And Brixton's what, like a 4,000 venue? Can't remember exactly how much it is,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so yeah, that was really cool. And also the album was largely produced by themselves.
Nice.
So they saved a bit of money on production. So first of all, I just wanted to, because I know, Adam, you're not exactly a metal fan.
No.
Yeah.
And Dylan, also, you have I don't know quite where you range in metalcore. I know you like Bring Me the
Yeah.
Horizon, but metalcore's slightly different to Bring Me the Horizon because of what they're doing
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah.
But Adam, when you first saw it on Spotify, the first thing you said is, "Oh no, Capital! Oh no."
Yeah.
So what was your first impressions of the album?
So I saw the band and I was like, okay, I kind of know where this is going. I saw the album artwork, which the album artwork's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And for some reason, the You Are We is in Spanish as well. And I was like, wait, are these a Spanish band? But obviously not, because they started singing. I was like, they're not Spanish.
They're from Sheffield, I think.
Yeah,
and then
Sheffield.
they're from Sheffield. Really?
They're from Sheffield. Yeah.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought the lead singer was American.
No, Sheffield.
Fair.
Like with some of his
Sheffield, bro.
singing segments, he really sounded
I
like
can understand that though, because
American,
for the
yeah.
first time I ever listened to them, I had that impression.
Yeah.
Fair.
And then I started the first song. We don't need to get into track by track just yet, but I started the first song. First 20 seconds, I'm like, hang on a second, what is this? It was like some like low-key guitar music, sounded a bit Pink Floyd-y. I was like, "Hey, bro, I'm feeling this." Hard cut. Hard cut, and then the metalcore started, and I was like, "Okay, I know what this album is now." That was my first impressions. Anyway,
Okay.
So
That's
Dylan,
good.
first impressions.
Loved it. I put it on,
Yes.
and straight in, it's my kind of shit. So I haven't dabbled much into like metalcore kind of. I've got little bits and pieces of songs I've listened to and maybe some bands, but never like properly listened to like an entire album. you know. So I put this on, and yeah, it was happy faces, thumbs up.
Yeah. So there's throughout the album there is a lot of messaging that goes on in the album. It's very important.
Right.
So I'm going to go through as
Right.
we go through the tracks. I just want to sort of see if you picked up on any of the messaging within the songs,
Nope.
and if not,
Right.
I'll sort of give you a bit of info into.
I'll
what
just
the
tell
song's
you right
about.
now, Brad, I didn't pick up on any messages or lyrics at all.
I picked up on a couple in like 2 or 3 songs, but we'll go through.
Okay, so first track, "You Are We."
Yes.
So for me, this song starts the album how the whole album proceeds, and that's with high energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because, like I say, the one thing about this band is that having seen them live, right, they have energy. It's
Right.
It's crazy.
I can
right?
imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, for this song, I really enjoyed sort of there was a naughty little breakdown in there.
Yeah.
And also a lot of the songs that follow this as well, because this particular song also has this, but it's not necessarily the same structure you would find in regular songs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Because as we discussed with like say Rival Sons with the Feral Roots album, there was a lot of verse, chorus,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
This doesn't have that, and there's a lot
No.
of tracks on this album that doesn't have that, and that's
I
one of
wrote
the
that
points
down.
I really enjoyed about this song.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dylan, would you like to start with what you said?
Yeah. So again, this is the first song on the album, so this kind of like sets the tone for like the entire album. For me, I loved it. Really good. The drums were good. I like the drums are like my main thing. I'm very big drum fan. Loved that. The breakdown goes off. It goes off.
Nasty.
It goes hard. I said that this song would probably bang live. Do they play it live? This song?
Bruv,
I mean, I
I've heard a
suppose
lot of
they
these
do.
tracks live.
Okay, because I can imagine that's again another thing I wrote throughout the whole album is that some of these songs must go hard live.
Yeah, because the first time I saw them, this album had just been released, and yeah, trust me,
Yeah.
it went hard. It went hard.
Yeah. So one thing I liked about this, and again other songs in this, is that he gets a good balance of like screamo and like actual singing. Like there's even some parts in this where like he's doing like a whole screamo and singy part.
It's
together.
Melodic screaming, really, in a way, isn't
that
it?
is, I wrote the word melodic about 19 times in this thing. But yeah, honestly, really good. Really enjoyed the song.
That's part of like sort of the British metalcore scene at the moment, because a lot of people, if you look at sort of American metalcore, it's very high pitched vocals and then awful screaming. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good British metalcore bands at the moment that are doing these sort of rash screams, but then also sort of mixing that with the vocals, which is again, I mentioned Architects a minute ago. They also do that, and they do that really well.
I've listened to them live.
Right.
So, Adam, your opinion, please.
Okay, right. I've already spoke about the first 20 seconds.
Yeah.
First 20 seconds was the best part of this song, but
ouch.
No,
you're wrong, but ouch.
But right, what you said about the song structure and how it's kind of different, I really like that at first in this album. But I will say, the song structure, although different to other songs, pretty much every song on this album starts to follow that structure a bit, and towards the end, that started to annoy me a bit. I'll say that, but this is probably the best song on the album to me.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And it's a good opener, and I like the switch ups. As I said, it's very intense.
It's very
the riffs are crazy.
Yeah.
And this is something I said about this whole album. The guitaring and the drums is like the best part.
Oh,
of all
yeah.
Unbelievable. I'll mention the guitars at several points throughout this album, because the one thing that's in this album that's underappreciated is the guitars.
Oh yeah, definitely. And there was some synth sounds in the background that I quite appreciated as well. There was a bit of a synthy electro vibe to some of this song. The vocals, for this song, I actually liked. So
wow.
Obviously the metalcore, you've got the screaming. That I thought was going to be really off-putting, but for this song, I felt it worked really well because it was an intense, like crazy song. And I didn't mind the screaming. The screaming was actually the thing that I quite liked about the singer.
Yeah,
but we'll get on to the rest another time. And also, it kind of reminds me of an anime intro. I
Yeah,
suppose that's
yeah,
most of these songs. But yeah, this
yeah.
song to me, because I was a bit worried about this album, I
Mm.
surprisingly did like this song. There was a bit of melody there, and the screaming and the guitaring work well together. So yeah, I like this song.
So my main question here is: would you put that in a playlist?
No,
Okay.
with
Um,
when I say this song is the best on the album, and I did enjoy it. Again, it's important for me to note for all of these that this is not really my thing. So
Yeah.
I'm looking more at these songs as how impressed I am by them than
Right.
necessarily how much I enjoy them. So
Okay.
this probably
Okay.
isn't something I'd listen to again, but I did enjoy it somewhat while I was listening to it.
Do you feel like you've enjoyed it more analyzing it than actually listening to it?
Potentially, yeah.
By which I mean you sort of looked at it, broke it down, and thought this section's good, this section's good. If you had it like just
Yeah.
listening to it like you would any other album, do you reckon you probably would have just turned it off?
Probably, yeah. I
Okay.
wouldn't have listened to this album if you didn't recommend it, but a couple of the songs did stand out to me as being better than the others.
Okay.
Fair.
Okay, so track number 2, Still the Sun.
Yeah.
Now the track here, it deals a lot with pessimistic people.
Okay.
And because it's a lot of this album follows a same sort of similar structure, because it follows it talks about it's pessimists, it talks about people that put people down, it talks about society and how they hate government, and various
Yeah, I
other
got a
forms of
lot of that
things.
through this album.
Yeah, because they're not happy with how the world is being run, and a lot of it is also like global warming. They mention a lot about trees and how they want to try and save the planet, and it's the whole point of the "You Are We"
Right.
is we have to work together.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, for
Okay.
still the sun. This is filthy. I thought the breakdown
Right.
here was filthy. And then
Mm.
the way the drums hit when it gets into the acoustic section, I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And throughout the
Okay.
entire song, it has good messaging. So again, there's a lot of this
Okay.
album that I've taken the messaging out, and I've just really enjoyed what they're trying to say. So Adam, I hear you. You don't sound too
Yeah.
impressed right now.
What you said about the switches between the different parts being good,
Mm.
I disagree on this song. I think that
You're
worked
wrong.
well for the first song.
Mm.
This one, it just felt so jarring. It was like 1 minute he was like singing like Chester Bennington doing like
Shut
a Linkin
up.
Park thing,
No.
and then he suddenly switched into some screamo,
No.
and I was not feeling this song.
Mm-mm-mm.
I don't.
Fair.
What I'll say about the rest of the album, because this applies for a lot of the songs.
Right.
I like the screaming singing because it works with the rest. A lot of the times when he's doing his other singing, like higher pitch singing, I don't like at all.
I don't think his
Fair.
vocals are high pitched at all.
No.
Well, no, but you know what I mean. When he's
Okay.
trying to sing,
Okay.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
like it.
Because I quite like the raspy vocals. That's what sort of gives it an extra kick for me. Because the one thing I don't like in
Yeah.
metalcore is the high pitched vocals. And then when this
Yeah.
comes through and I'm listening to this, I'm like, hey, do you know what? This has got a good balance
It's actual
between.
singing.
For me, the
Yeah.
raspiness of his voice works really well for the screaming, but when he's trying to sing, it was really grating. I didn't like those segments at all, especially on
It's
this
fair.
song.
So Dylan.
I'm kind of halfway between both of you here.
Mm.
I enjoyed parts of this song, but again, so it started off a bit lackluster for me. It didn't really have anything to like grab you in like that first song. That first song ruined this song for me almost, because that first song is just fucking punches you in the face with this cool fucking.
No, but that's the point of a strong opening album starter, though.
Yeah. I mean, again, so for me here, this song, it didn't pack as much for me, because like for me, I'm not a slower song kind of guy. I'm not saying this is a slow song, but it wasn't.
Slow segment.
But yeah,
but there's a lot of songs throughout this album that have sort of acousticy sections that slow it down a little bit and then build it back up again. So
yeah, I did enjoy like the whole like breakdown, like the heavy kind of like stuff in the middle, because that's when it kind of got a bit more juicy, you know. But
to me, the instrumentals in those slower sections were really good, but his voice just annoyed me, so it made those sections bad for me.
It's fair. Right.
We'll move on to Phil, track number 3.
Right, yes.
Right
yes,
away,
yes.
this starts with some strong guitaring.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I'd say really punchy. You like really getting you vibe up for this. And then the song sort of themes on people coming together and being connected.
Yeah.
Which I said is already part of the theme for the album. But again, this song has a really cool structure, which I really enjoyed throughout the album, like I've said. So,
Yeah.
Dylan, what are you saying?
Yes. So now this might piss you off, Brad, but I say this in a nice way. So it sounded very old Bring Me the Horizon, but with a bit more flavor to it. Like, did you ever used to listen to Old Bring Me the Horizon?
I know "I'll Bring Me Horizon" sounds like Dylan.
Yeah. So that's what it sounded like to me. It sounded like a better Bring Me the Horizon, is what
To
I'm
me,
trying
this
to
all
say.
sounded like Bring Me the Horizon.
Shut up.
Shut up. Okay, no, shut up.
Are you dumb?
But no, so up until this point and including this song, the drumming has been, it's refreshing because you listen to songs and you got drumming which is fucking insane, fucking double bass going off. The drumming in this album in general is really simple but effective. It's not elaborate fucking like 200 beats per second. It's really good, just kind of
It's
smooth,
punchy where it
melodic.
needs to be, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. Really good. I said that I really like the singing and the screamy parts in this song because it just went hand in hand for me. It was really good. The you're right, Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, the parts where it's like kind of like it calms down, it slows down, and then just fucking beats the shit out of you with guitars. That was fun. I quite enjoyed that. Yeah, this is for me, one of the best songs on the album.
Okay. Fair enough. Sorry, I'll
Yeah,
make my like points on this song pretty quick because they're pretty much the same as the last song. But I really like the darker instrumental on this. So like as you said, it comes in aggressive and he's screaming. The vocals fit better in the aggressive segments. But again, the switch ups, I just found myself enjoying 20 seconds and then I wouldn't enjoy the next bit and then I might enjoy the next bit and then I might not enjoy the next bit. I found the chorus really annoying. You might disagree, Brad, but yeah, I didn't like the chorus at all.
I will let you on a little secret here. There is not a single track on this album I didn't enjoy.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
yeah, and basically I just prefer the non-singing segments because it gave me a bit to appreciate what I enjoyed about the album, which was the guitaring mainly. Like the guitar, especially when the sound of the guitar changed from like the distortion to like the bit more high pitched guitar sounds, I really enjoyed.
I feel like I'm going to get an idea of the songs that you quite enjoyed. I feel like I've got an idea of what you're most likely going to enjoy. So, Empire of Silence.
Right.
Now, this song is less of sort of your metal thrash song and more of a bop song. If you ask me, because this is a lot more basic. This song, it's a lot more structured. And then the one thing about this song as well, again, there's some really cool guitar work on it. Even though they've kept their basic structure, what they've done is they've made sure that even though they've kept that basicness, they've put loads of cool guitar melodies in there, and they've put loads of riffs in there that like really add to the song.
Yeah, it's very layered, the guitar.
Yeah, but like I say, this one's more of just like because when this is a song they played live, and this isn't one of those ones where you start throwing hands around, right? This is one of those ones you just sort of jump to and you sort of vibe a little bit.
Vibing,
yeah, just vibe a little bit. So, Dylan, what are you saying?
Yeah, so the summary of this song, I'd say, is it's just a vibe.
Yeah,
like it's almost like an interlude for like the craziness in this album. It slows things down. It kind of showcases his voice a little bit. His voice is it's a powerful voice, you know? Like when he's singing, it kind of hits you a bit, you know? Adam doesn't agree with this at all. I'm looking at him and he's smiling. But yeah, to me, see, now that you said that they've tried to go with like a non-structured kind of way they make their songs, I wrote that it sounds kind of generic, but I kind of take that back.
This song does.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I said that this song sounds generic, but I feel like it almost doesn't. I feel like it's just because it's like other songs. I don't think it's generic.
I'm saying that
Mm.
just because of the way that the song is structured, but the instruments within the song, again, they have been layered in a way where it's still quite enjoyable.
Yeah. I didn't by any means not enjoy this. This is a good song on the album.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, again, I was disappointed after
Yeah, I
the
was going to
intro
say,
segment.
I would not imagine you
Yeah.
enjoyed this one. This is
Yeah.
the one I imagine you'd like.
This is the worst song on the album to me.
Yeah,
joint
I
with a
figured you
few
would have found
others.
that.
Yeah.
I really liked the instrumental on it. That's what made it disappointing because I just disliked all of the vocals. I really like that guitar sound, as I said in this song. And
Yeah.
basically, if it was an instrumental, this would have been the best song on the album. But
Yeah.
with his singing on it, that really grated on me for this one. And
Oh,
the other thing I need to mention, I've said this before, I'll say it time and time again. I don't like whirls in
yeah,
rock
I
songs.
again, I knew you wouldn't have enjoyed that. So,
And I kind of said he sounds like a douchebag.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, we'll move on to Wide Awake.
Right.
Right.
This is again a bit. It's a bit more of a. I'm not gonna say a bop song, but it was. You could understand more of the message in this song. I feel at least if you do listen to the lyrics as much, because I mean, when you see the title "Wide Awake," what are you thinking?
I need to go to sleep.
No, okay, but in a more of like
Yeah.
a in a thought sense, when you're thinking of the world, you're wide awake. What are you
Yeah.
seeing? You're seeing the world for what it is.
Yeah.
I
And
was
that's-
not
and that's-
thinking
Woke.
about the world during this album, Brad. I
You
didn't catch that message.
completely missed the messaging of this album. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
no,
lie
I
to
did.
you.
I'll accept that.
Yeah.
But again, this song looks at a lot of how the world's being treated. And I really like that part where it's just like, I'm wide awake, because it's really trying to send the message like, look, I know what's happening. We need to sort of
Yeah.
stand up to this. So, Adam, what are you saying?
Fair.
I really dislike the section with the wide awake. I'm not just trying to be contrary to you, but
Yeah.
I literally wrote that down. The
Oh.
wide awake part is annoying.
No, that's one of the best parts of the song.
His voice doesn't
Oh.
sound good when it's slower. That's just my opinion.
Mm.
That kind of reigns across the whole album. I like the faster, more aggressive segments on this.
Hmm.
Everything else, when it switched, I was kind of like, oh, now it's gone to something I don't like. But again, the guitar is
Fair.
sick.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean,
Kind
you
of
cannot fault the guitars in this
No.
album.
building on what Adam said. So, like, for me, this is one of the songs I liked least on the album.
Yeah.
It for me. I don't know if it's just when I listen to it, but for me, it kind of chopped and changed a bit too much.
Mm.
It was it sounded like probably the most experimental song on this album. It changed a lot, like in tempo, tone, whatever. Like it kind of changed too much
Yeah.
for me. I couldn't really get into it. It was a good song. There was some really good elements to it, but it kind of just keeps you on your toes. Like you're vibing to one part, and then it kind of changes up, and
Yeah.
you don't know how to
That's
feel
my
about it.
thoughts.
No, but that's what I enjoyed about it, because it gave you so many different elements.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if you did maybe a couple of those on like one song and then a couple on the other, but for me, it was too much for one song. It's fine for an entire album, like by all means, go for different like almost subgenres.
Yeah, but that sounds like
when you're doing your songs.
You would far more enjoy songs if they're just, you put the verse there and then the chorus there and then the verse
Yeah,
there.
but Brad, it depends how much you enjoy those different elements. Because if there's only one element you enjoy, then it ruins the song if they keep changing to something you don't enjoy. But you enjoy all of it.
Because I enjoy all of like the raspy vocals. I like the screaming. I like, the acoustic breakdowns. It's all really good to me, and it all links really well.
That's fair.
I just find it a bit jarring. It's like, oh, it's a different song now.
For me, 90% of my music is fast, just 180 beats per minute, fucking just thrash.
Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on to the next one, Dylan, because this song features the only feature on the album, right?
Yes,
of
Mr.
Ollie Sykes. I'll let you
Oliver.
start, and I'll give my opinion at the end here, because I know you got something to say here.
I said that this is the weakest song on the album.
What?
I said for me it's the weakest song.
How?
I don't know. I couldn't vibe with it.
Right.
yeah, it kind of like it made like zero impact. It was a good song. I didn't rate it badly. This is my lowest rating, and I gave it a 5.5. But it was very generic metal sounding, especially when
Right.
Ollie came in. I couldn't get over the fact that like you can hear his voice, and it doesn't fit with this kind of music for me anymore.
I don't even see how you can say this sounds different from anything else on the album.
Really?
Yeah, to me, right, this is not one of the worst songs. This is like bang in the middle. But I couldn't even really tell the difference between Ollie Sykes and the singer anyway, to be honest.
That's
But,
fair. That's because I've listened to it
right,
too much.
the guitar sound again is good. The whirls bad, get them out. We don't need whirls. Certain segments are good and fitting. It's got a decent rhythm, this song. I felt like a lot of the more aggressive segments did have some good rhythm in there. And I could
Yeah.
get a bit of a head nod going, you know. Mainly for the guitar, I enjoyed it. But again, the vocals are still off-putting to me.
That's fair.
Brad.
Okay, you're both fucking dumb, right?
Oh, wow, okay. Right, let's go, Brad. Let's go.
Controversial.
Right, so what do you think, on seeing the title Silence Speaks, what do you think this song could possibly be about?
About Ollie Sykes being
No, it's not
on
about
this song.
Ollie Sykes. It's not about Ollie Sykes being on this song. This song is actually based on Brexit.
Right. Didn't get that.
And it
Didn't get that.
And it features a lot on how we're trying to separate ourselves from other people when we really should be connecting.
Right. Didn't get
and
that.
then also features on thoughts of racism and separation.
Not at all.
No.
So this song has great energy. And I felt like the Ollie Sykes feature actually added to this song, right? And for me, not being an Ollie Sykes fan at all, right, was surprising when I first ever heard this song. Because the way he comes in with the words that he just, his first starting line is, "I think the silence speaks volumes," right? And that's all I needed to hear. I was like, geez, that is punchy.
That's
that is
fair
to the
enough
point.
if you can
Like-
understand what he's saying. To me, it was just growling.
What, you could understand exactly? Okay.
To be fair, it makes sense that he's
Okay.
on this song because
No, because he fits so well to this.
yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad song by any means, but I just if he wasn't on this album or this song, it wouldn't have made a difference for me.
No,
Also, Brad, I didn't say this song was bad. I like
No,
the
I'm
instrumental
just-
on this song, and Ollie Sykes didn't detract from the song.
No,
I just
of course
didn't think
not.
he offered anything different to
No,
the lead singer. you know?
Do you know, for me, this being the only feature on the album, it really added quite nicely for me.
Fair enough.
Like I say, his just aggressive style when he comes into this, because we've not heard Ollie scream like that in a while.
Yeah,
right?
it was nice to hear.
But his aggression really added to that track for me and really hit the point. Like it'd be hard for me to find a song where I found him that's ever hit the point that well. So
Right.
for me, this was one of the best songs on the album for me.
Damn.
It was middle of the road, standard.
Okay,
Vanilla cheesecake.
we'll move.
This
on.
is my bottom one, but just because I needed to have a bottom one.
We will move on.
Yes. I'm sorry to
Settle
let you down, Brad.
Society.
Right.
Again, this is another bit of a bop song, so it's more of like a head bobber sort of jump around
Yeah.
sort of tune. There was some really cool guitar parts. There was the guitar part where he started going silence, where it's like, do it. I love that. I was like proper vibing to that. But yeah, this song elements just great guitar work for me.
Yeah, that's one thing I wrote.
So this song for me is the second best song on the album.
Okay.
So I said with this one, where the other songs had failed, this one tends to blend the softer and harder sounds a bit better. It seemed to be one discernible song, but with those elements in it. So I think they got it right on this one. The bass in the second verse as well. Like there was some really like hard bass going on in the background alongside that guitar. At one point, was he trying to rap?
Yeah, I heard a little bit.
It's just fast vocals, isn't it? Really.
I actually didn't mind that bit. I didn't mind that.
A lot of like heavier music do have that as well.
Yeah, and just to me a little bit, it was less so in this song because I think his singing was slightly better. But when he is trying to sing, it sounds a bit strained, and to me, I don't really like that.
I will say to you that he is not the best vocalist.
No.
Yeah.
Which is why I prefer the screaming because it's fitting for the music.
Yeah, the vocals are limited. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing I put down, which made this song slightly worse, but still this is one of my favourites, why do all the intros sound better than the song? For me, every intro I'm listening to, I'm like, oh yeah, this is good, and then it drops, and I'm like, oh, I want to go back to the intro.
Do you know what? My next album will just be an instrumental album.
Maybe, you know, I mean, it's pretty good. I like the instrumentals. That's the thing.
I've got a couple of instrumental albums I can suggest. I'm going to do that next time.
Yeah.
I swear.
Yeah.
But then, Brad, like last week, we discussed Old Day Bastard, and I think this is similar, where it depends how much that vocal style either annoys you or you enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
Because I do enjoy some of the screaming. Like I've listened to some screaming people before. Like I used to listen to Gallows and like shit like that, which I don't mind. But it was more the singing segments that I didn't like. That was the thing that surprised me the most. But in this song, not as bad.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really add anything to what you said. I agree with you a lot there. I quite liked like the kind of tempo of the song, kind of like it was good, like fast paced. Then it kind of mellows out into vocals and then kind of just ends on a punch. I enjoyed this song as well. Can't really add much to that.
Okay, we'll move on to the next track, Hurricane.
Yes.
Right now, Dylan.
Yes.
I swear to you, right? If you tell me you dislike this song, I'm coming to your ends and a head kick. Right?
No.
So
just fucking spinning heel kick.
Because this song is you 101. I swear.
So I said that this is a really, really solid song on this album. Just fucking heavy, flows well, powerful voice, strong guitar, drums were beautiful. Again, with the instruments, it's very technical without it being too flashy. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to go over the top with
That's
little
of this album though.
Exactly, 100%. And this is what I like about it, because I've listened to so many bands where they think that they're good because they're putting all these notes in and like all this technical stuff. But sometimes you just don't need that. You just need some good, just fucking, you know what you're doing, you know? And yeah, this song, strong song for me. I think this is like maybe third, it's like joint second or joint third or something like that.
Yeah.
Very, very strong song for me. Adam.
So for me, this is joint worst on the album.
No,
there we go.
There
we
with
go.
The other with the other two. So this is exactly the same notes I've put for the other songs I disliked. Intro cuck, right? I keep cucking me on the intros. Vocals bearing the screaming parts. Annoying when he's trying to sing. Bit jarring, like certain parts, dislike others.
Wait, so you're telling me that whenever there's an acoustic intro, you're just like, do you know what, I'm feeling this? And then
I really,
as soon as
but I really feel all of the instrumental parts in the softer section. But his voice just grates on me whenever he's singing in that. So if you just get rid of his singing, just have him screaming on it, I'd have liked it more.
Okay. So this song starts with the message of mental health.
Yeah.
And then the hurricane sort of represents human behavior, that we sort of need to destroy things to be able to make them better. So if, for example, you could take like a literal hurricane where it tears down a neighborhood, and then those people need to rebuild it, but they do it as a community, which makes everyone build it a bit better.
When there's trouble in your neighborhood, who are you gonna call?
118.
Shut up. Shut up. That for me, the way this song builds, shut your mouth. Seriously, I'm trying to describe this song here.
Yeah.
Right, carry on, man.
The way this song builds is just like, it's so heavy. And then it reaches to a point of like almost like turmoil, and at the end where it's just thrashing the dum 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 dum. I'm just like, I'm there, and I will tell you that you could not fully appreciate this song until you've heard it live, because when I heard this live, right, they closed with this, and I swear to you, right?
Oh, they closed with this.
They closed with it, right?
Oh, hell yeah!
And I was obviously, we went there because we were Architects fans. We went there to go watch Architects. It's the first time I'd seen them.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. While She Sleeps stole the show that night, because when they played Four Walls, which is off their album before this, which was Brainwashed, we were already just like gone. It was so mad. And then they closed with this, and just the ending, right, where it was just so strong. And it's just thrashing that message into you. It's like, all my thoughts are useless. And it's like, dum. I was like, nah, this is strong. For me, this is a strong song.
This is like up there.
Okay.
Worst song.
So the next song, Brad.
I'm not having this from you, I swear.
I
Right.
the next song,
So
Brad.
Revolt. Okay. So Adam, if I'm correct here, right?
Okay.
You like the
Right.
songs that are a bit more thrashy. Surely this one would have been more to your liking then.
Than the last one, yeah. So
Okay.
guitar in Mad again. Can't fall the guitar in. Chorus bad versus good. I find that for a lot of them, you know, like I like certain segments. It's very intense throughout, so I did appreciate that.
This song was intense.
Yeah. And to me, right, you're gonna be mad, but at this point in the album, this is the 9th song. I wrote the songs are starting to feel long and a bit samey.
Oh
The sounds are
no.
very similar to me, and that structure, although I liked at the beginning, it started to get predictable.
I listened to
Oh.
this album this morning, okay, and for me it flew by.
Yeah. Same.
I mean, all the songs are at least like 4 minutes long, I think.
Then
For me,
not
that
all the
gets a bit
songs are that.
long.
I mean, it's 11 tracks, but it's 51 minutes.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like they've used all the time really well.
Yeah.
I just find where the sameness in the structure and the similar
There's no
sounds, it
sameness
got
in
a
the
bit boring to me at
structure.
this point.
No.
Oh,
No. This
Yeah.
song was up there for me. Like
No.
very high up there.
I don't know if anyone's actually mentioned the song yet, but the song is called Revolt.
Oh yes. Right.
And so yeah, this song sort of features sort of after Hurricane because it's quite significant in a way because it says we've now got a marvel in the mess we've made because it's saying,
Right.
oh look, we've done all this mess, so we might as well hold our heads up high.
Iron Man 1 and 2, yeah, okay.
Right. But yeah, this song is intense, it's heavy, it's strong, and then the vocals.
Yeah.
This could be some of like the darkest vocals on the album because it's like revolt.
Yeah.
This is revolting. It's just like, oh geez, this is. He's like you feel the emotion in it as well. It's like really
You can
just
feel it. Yeah. Yeah.
strong. This song is strong.
Mm.
Like I said, Dylan, what you saying?
Again, completely agree with you, Brad. Like the part in some parts where like they're doing like the vocals with the guitar and the drum, just like boom, boom. It was fucking good. This is again, one of the better songs on the album. From beginning to end, it was just like energy, which is what I like. The drums and guitar again, just impressive. It's impressive to get songs or to make songs sound good by using just simple music. I'm not saying simple in a bad way. It's just,
I was about to say.
I'm not saying simple in a bad way. I'm saying it's like they don't need to go overboard to like for like a wow factor kind of thing. It's just fucking impressive music. Yeah.
Nice. I again really enjoyed that song.
Yeah.
So moving on to our next track, Civil Isolation.
Right. Yes.
This again follows on. It's just ending aggressively. This album, because you can tell they've just got charged up and they're really not happy about the message they're saying. But this is one significant song because obviously there's a lot of acoustic interludes or breaks in tracks. This one I really liked. This is one of my favorite sort of interlude acoustic breakdowns. And just again the messaging for me, like there's a part where it's speaking a lot on like unfairness in society and how government is like not helping people enough.
I got that as well.
There was one line where it just says there's no profit in poverty, and I was just like, that's sums that up for me.
100%.
Deep, bro.
Yes, real deep. Dylan, what you saying?
So this for me was joint top favorite songs on this album. Like the transitions in this let me try that again. The transitions in the song was good. The album starts hard, it kind of mellows out during like in the middle, and then it kind of ends harder like this, like with this song and the last song. So yeah, just really heavy, really good. Enjoyed this. I gave it a high score on all the songs on the album.
Right. So for me, by this point, I'm getting a bit sick of the sound, but this song was decent. Okay, I did like the switch up, like you said, Brad. The acoustic part on this song, I did enjoy, and his vocals didn't kill it as much for me this time, and it works a bit better. But again, there's just parts I like and parts I don't like, and at this point in the album, to me, I've heard enough. You know.
Oof.
Okay.
Sounds harsh, bro.
Okay.
It sounds harsh. I'm not trying to be hot.
Yeah. It sounds like you got yeah, just fucking album,
Look,
done
this
with
is a
it.
4
is.
out of 10. All right, I wrote 4 out of 10. It's just
4?
like, it's all right.
It's all right. Okay, we'll move on to our final track. At which point I'm sure Adam's really loving the fact that the album's coming to an end.
Yeah.
In Another Now. So this song really speaks on sort of the actions and consequences have of actions.
Yeah.
And for me, it had a really nice reflection of the whole album because it sort of just tried to sum everything up, and it wasn't. We've had the really aggressive songs previous to this, and this one sort of tried to mellow you out a little bit. And it was more of just a reflection.
Mm.
And the one thing I wanted to close on with this song is the last line of the album is like "You Are We," which obviously is the title song. So again, they've tried to open and close with the same message, and just say that we've said all this. What we've said is that to make a change, we all need to change.
Yeah. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, so for me, like I say, is the messaging of the album just really comes to like all the way around. It meets full circle. And again, the song was just good as well. So what you guys got to say?
I'll go first then. Right, first thing I wrote, why are they doing these intro cocks on me again? Right, very similar structure between some of the other songs, but I really like the synth-like guitar. So the guitar sounded a bit different in this one, and it's not the worst or best, but it kind of sounds like I've already heard this song before on the album, right? But the end little electro segment, I really enjoyed as well. The last like sort of outro, I guess it is. That was really good.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. It was for like middle of the road. Now that you kind of told me the message, I appreciate that a lot. But yeah, just a nice chilled ending to the album. Yeah, I don't really have much to say on this song. It was just very middle of the road. It's a good song.
It was a
fine.
good end to the album. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
it did sort of wrap it around.
Like I'm saying, it brought it full circle. We had our intense opening. We had our sort of calm down in the middle. We had the build up towards the end, and then a nice finish. So for me, this album fluctuated exactly how you'd want it to. Because a lot of albums I listen to nowadays, people don't seem to have any structure in the way they put their songs.
Yeah.
And you could have like a hype song here, and then a mellow song there, and then a hype song straight afterwards, and then 3 mellow songs and 3 hype songs, and then a mellow song. It just doesn't work. This album, not only was the messaging really structured, but also the whole curve of the album was really structured. And that really added overall when I heard the final song, and I was just like, it's come full way around for me, and I just really enjoyed every track. So to summarize, Dylan.
Hell yeah. Right. So overall, this album absolutely slaps for me. Like really good, 100% my kind of thing. After this, I'm gonna listen to the album again and listen to them more and kind of listen to it knowing that there is an actual, message in these songs. Because a lot of albums you listen to, especially in this genre, have like a vague kind of message.
Do you know, the one issue I have with sort of metal or metalcore is that a lot of the messaging is just mainly to do with death. And it doesn't necessarily need to be like that, because
it doesn't,
thing,
100%.
Because the one thing, you can speak about anything. You can speak about, I mean, obviously a lot of pop songs speak about love and relationships. You could easily do that in a metalcore song. For some reason,
100%.
people don't choose not to do so. And even when
it's really refreshing.
It's a really bad song. I've not heard a lot of good love songs that are metal songs.
Yeah. Like even like what they're doing with this album kind of reminds me of what Gojira do. Like a lot of Gojira is basically save the planet, stop fucking us up, and stop fucking the planet up for our children. Like that's the whole.
It's like
about
where
Gojira.
you
So
channel your anger, because most people are
exactly
just like monsters and death and Satan. We're just angry, but I do appreciate that they're trying to sort of have a goal towards this album.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that now that you've told me that, because this it adds to this album now that I'm going to listen to it again after this. Again, so for me, the guitar was standout, drumming standout, and his vocals. I wasn't expecting to listen to like a heavy rock album and appreciate vocals as much as I did on this album.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm giving this a very solid 8 out of 10. Very solid.
Fair enough.
I really enjoyed this. Yeah.
So that's tied highest score we've given an album so far. So Adam.
Yeah.
So for me, this isn't for me, this album, as you probably knew when you recommended it.
Yeah, I
But
did, let's be honest.
there were enjoyable moments, and like I dreaded the worst, but this was not as bad as I thought it would be.
Well,
Let's
the
start
one
by
thing
saying
I had behind this album is that this is one of my favorite metalcore albums, and the
Yeah.
reason for it is because it doesn't follow that boring structure of a
Mm.
lot of metalcore albums.
Yeah.
So I thought you would at least appreciate this album for what it was.
Definitely. So as I said, like I didn't hate it, but it was more an appreciation or a respect rather than enjoyment. So all of the guitar and all of the drums I enjoyed, and it's very impressive, like musically.
Mm.
And even
Mm.
as like an outsider to this genre, I can tell just from listening that this is good metalcore. You know,
Mm.
I'm not saying it's bad at all, but it all just comes down to personal preference. And
Yeah.
for me, the screaming worked really well, and I was surprised by how much I enjoyed that. But there was too many segments that I just didn't like his voice, and there was a lot of the switching and changing where I didn't enjoy the segments and the intro cucks. You know, they just kept
It's not
kept
intro
getting on my-
cock. It's not intro
kept
cock.
getting on my nerves.
Shut
And yeah, I
up.
think like some of the songs, like the two songs I mentioned that I did like, I felt like they stuck to like a similar sound throughout, and some of the songs seemed a bit jarring going back and forth. And the album did get worse as I listened to it. The songs started to get a bit too samey and a bit too repetitive for me, right? So overall, I'll give it a 4 out of 10 because I respect it more than I enjoy it, and I probably
Yeah.
won't revisit it.
That's
But
fair.
it's good music, you know. I can tell
Mm.
it's good. It's just not for me.
Okay.
I respect that.
I can appreciate your
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Cheers,
me,
Brad.
this is a standout album for me. This is one of the best metalcore albums I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I say, as I've previously experienced, like I said, I love the messaging. I love the way the album curves. I love the aggression. There's a lot of emotion in here, and you can really feel the emotion. You know, you understand he means what he says.
Yeah.
So trying to channel that in a way where, again, this probably adds to me as well because I have seen them live and I've seen that the songs that I really enjoyed this album, when I heard them live, were even better. So I already have that message in my head. So for me, this is just a great album. For me, it's a 9 out of 10.
Solid.
Fair enough.
So
Solid.
that's strong.
Okay, and I'm not mad that I listened to it. You know, it's something new
Yeah.
that I've never heard before, and I'm not thinking that was terrible. You know, it was a new experience. So.
Exactly.
Cheers, Brad.
All good.
Yeah.
Right, so Dylan,
Great
have you
choice.
got a little question for us?
Yes, I do, and I'm sorry. So,
Right.
all right, here's the question. Right now, take a second to think about it because I've got an answer for it already. If animals could talk,
Right.
what animal would be the rudest?
The
What would be the
rudest.
rudest.
Yeah, just the most horrible animal. If animals can talk,
Chimpanzee.
why? What?
Because chimpanzees, right, will rip your face off. So
Yeah, but they
if
wouldn't
they're going to rip
necessarily
someone's
be
face
rude.
off, then they won't hesitate to call you a cunt, you know?
Yeah,
Nah.
but I mean, there's bear animals that would rip your head off. Like,
What about a mongoose? Mongoose just kill everything in sight.
Mongoose?
They'd
Yeah,
just be an
true.
arsehole.
Or no, actually, dolphin. Dolphins
I-
are actually
Ooh.
bastards. They go around
No.
like beating up seals and stuff. They'd
Actually,
be like,
yeah.
"Oi, seal boy, come over here," and then beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, my answer.
Yeah.
Sorry, my answer is gonna be a ferret because I once got attacked by a fucking ferret and it was a little cunt. So
Nah, I
enough.
don't think it'd be a
Prior
dolphin.
experience.
Dolphins are assholes. They're like jocks. Dolphins are like jocks in like American movies where they're kind of just
Right.
like, yeah,
So you
yeah,
need like
bro.
the
I play ball.
reclusive meme lord.
yeah, yeah. So
Who's
what?
the meme lord animal?
I don't know. All right, I'm gonna go with mongoose.
Meerkat.
No, meerkats are cute. They're
Hey,
wise.
nah, meerkats are cool, bro. They,
meerkats.
they're not gonna at
They
you.
pop their head out of the hole and they'd be like, "Hey, dickhead."
No,
but they'd be
it's
doing
got to
it
be
out
a
of banter,
mongoose.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
true.
hyenas. They
Yeah.
are assholes.
True.
Yeah, but no, you only
That's not a
think
bad
that
shout.
because of the way they've been portrayed in Lion King. So
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but even in the wild, they just gang up on innocent deer or whatever,
that's
or
what all animal
gazelle.
species do. So
Yeah, true.
we do that.
Hyenas are
Humans
worse.
do that. How do you not know that humans are the worst?
I mean, yeah.
But that's why I said chimpanzee, because they're close to us. So if they could talk, They'd just be a ruder, more like animal version of us.
Yeah.
What was that?
Right.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I've never thought about this. What a great
No.
question.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so moving on swiftly. So
Oh,
next
Oh.
week, our film recommendation is from Brad. So
It
Brad, what do you
is.
want to talk about?
I want to talk about Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, good shout.
That is film
Tarantino.
of choice for next week. Tarantino's almost debut.
Yeah. Okay. And Dylan, yours is the album next week. Please don't do what you did last time.
Right.
I swear, man.
I am going
No.
for.
You are.
I'm sorry, but I'm going for a Paramore
don't say
album.
Oh, okay.
I'm going for Paramore,
Okay.
and I think I'll go for the
Not
album
the new
Riot.
one. Not
No,
the
we'll
new
go
one.
for Riot.
Oh,
Okay.
geez, alright, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
So
Right.
Paramore, Riot. Yeah.
I don't know what tracks are on that album.
It's some of the best. It's my favorite album. It's got some of the
Okay.
best songs on it.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep an open mind, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We've gone from metalcore to pop punk now. So
Right. So that was a good discussion, and I'll see you both next week.
see ya.
Cheers, bro.
Later.